how do you deal with rejection? Because rejection can have an impact on our identity. How do you keep your identity where it's supposed to be?
I've had to wrestle with that before, especially with the industry that I'm in and putting myself out there, and a lot of it is me. Like, it literally is like my face, the way I act, you know, like it really is like personal. And I think it honestly starts with
handling rejection can be one of the most painful feelings that you can endure, whether it is getting broken up with, if it is trying out for a sports team and you don't make the team, if it's running for student body president, whatever it is, and you don't get the votes, running for homecoming queen or king, and you don't get the votes you need. Feeling rejected can actually impact your very identity. And so we're going to be talking about this with actress, influencer, and singer Bria Gibbons, and how to handle that, and also how do you deal with hardships that come into your life, whether it be things that you did or things you have no effect over, like sickness, and how do we still trust God? So this is People You Should Know. We're going to be talking, as I said, with Bria Gibbons. I'm excited for this conversation because we actually have a devotional that's going to be coming out at the same time that this is, about how to live a life that's centered around Christ. So go check that out on the 418 app. Again, we are here to help you love God passionately and live your faith boldly. Go to 418app.com, go check it out, and also go to 418gear.com and get some merch so that you can represent Jesus to the people around you. Let's get into this. You got big things happening. Yes. That's exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited.
So yeah, it's been. I was super stoked to have you come back on, and yeah, because I think it's cool to see from. I mean, it was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple years ago. I mean, how long have you been graduated for?
I graduated last May, so I've already had basically like a full year into my college years.
Yeah. How's that going?
Going really well. I've been interning at my church and in film school, so I haven't been at like an actual like college, but I've loved this year, just be working and acting and involved in my church. It's been really refreshing.
Yeah. So okay, so you're in film school. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's in Oklahoma?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A lot of it is based off of here. I do some Zooms from LA things or Texas, but a lot of it is based in Oklahoma.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I'm going to pray, and then we're going to jump into this, and I'm super excited about it. All right, here I am with Bria Gibbons, and as I said, she's an actress, singer, influencer, and she's got big things going on. Like I said, go check out her devotional that's going to be coming out at the same time that this interview does. She actually filmed this for us a while ago while she was still in high school, and I was slacking, and no, I wasn't. I was trying to get everything going with the app, and so it just took a while. But I'm glad to be able to partner the devotional with this interview coming out, and so pumped about it. So give us a quick update. What are you doing right now?
Okay, yes. I have a lot of acting going on, which is really exciting. A lot of it has shifted over since I turned 18 last year, and so a lot of that went from like child actor to adult actor, and so all of my stuff has finally switched over, and I'm getting a lot of casting calls, a lot of work, especially because Oklahoma is a film state, and so a lot of LA is coming to Oklahoma, and it's really exciting. So I've been really busy with that, like a lot.
Okay, I would not. Oklahoma's a film state.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How's that?
It's a
I wouldn't put that in the realm.
I know. It's wild. We filmed Twisters here, Killers of the Flower Moon, Tulsa King, all that. A lot of LA is coming here just because the world is shifting and changing, and whether it's finances, whether it's just decisions or moral things, whatever that may be, a lot of it is in like Georgia and Oklahoma, and then Texas is also a film state as well, I believe.
Okay.
And so kind of this whole area, and then Georgia over there. It's really interesting. It's kind of cracking me up. I'm like, welcome, I guess.
Wow. See, I need to get Nevada to become a film state, man. I want to see some stuff happen here. We're super pumped about. I want to do some stuff here. That being said, like you said, you're getting more yeses on gigs, and that because I keep seeing you're like booked it, kind of that. I'm like, let's go, because I know before you were telling me, man, you're like it's hard. Like there's a lot of no's and things like that. So let's jump into that conversation. How did you, and I guess you continue to, how do you deal with rejection? because rejection can be getting broken up with. Rejection can be a friend group. Rejection can be, getting cast in something or not getting cast in something. How have you dealt with rejection?
Oh, that's a great question. It's taken time, honestly, because rejection is a real thing, like you said, in all areas of life, whether it be relationships, whatever it may be. Specifically in the acting industry, I know it's tricky because you put a lot out there. Like, it's really silly to act, honestly. You get into vulnerable places or become a character or give, like, your art, like a full presentation. And it can also tie into your heart, too, with relationships or whatever that may be. And so whenever you put yourself out there and then someone's, like, viewing you and says, no thanks. It's kind of like, oh, okay. Like, it makes you doubt your talent. It makes you doubt your ability, honestly, because then it just kind of makes you question everything of like, okay, well, if I'm called to this or if I was, quote, made for this and I keep getting all of these no's or rejection, or a lot of it would be like, yes, maybe, like a callback or come in for an in-person audition or we're gonna go. And then they're like, never mind. And you're like, oh, I just went on that roller coaster for no reason. And so it was really tricky for a while. And even now I am getting more jobs. Still, I audition like 4 or 5 times a week. And typically it takes me like dozens of auditions and then I get one. And then I'm like, yeah. And then a month goes by and I maybe get 2. And then 3 months go by and I've got nothing. It's just so inconsistent. But it has really built like some grit in me of like, okay, regardless of whether I get this or not, I'm still going to give it my best. Because a lot of times whenever I go into it, remembering what happened in the past of like, I just got told no 6 times this month, like sometimes it's tricky to be like, but I'm still going to give it my all, put my effort into it, memorize my script, take time out of my day, say no to this, get ready, put my heart and soul into this, even though I may not know the result will be what I want it to be. I've really grown in that because that's tricky for me whenever I'm like, if I don't get the result I want, why would I invest in it? But it just takes, like grit in your work. It takes the motivation that comes from doing what you love and then also like remembering that you're walking in the Lord's will and He will provide and His timing is just perfection.
So that actually, I didn't bring this up, but I think it's important. You feel like, you're walking in the thing God has called you to do. Mm-hmm. But in that, there's a lot of no's. It's not like it's easy. Yeah. So how do you keep in mind, like, this is what God has called me to do when it doesn't always look like you're doing the thing that God has called you to do?
It starts with evaluating myself and talking with the Lord, because sometimes you can think you hear from the Lord or like, I think this is what He wants me to do. It just makes sense. I'm good at this, or I've always wanted to do this. Like, this is what He has for me. And then you kind of get into it and it starts not really working out or going as planned. And you're like, oh, okay, maybe I need to step back and evaluate, like triple checking, is this what God has for me? Because sometimes we can make up in our own mind, but it's really ourselves just trying to convince us that this is what God has for me. But so there's that part. I would say always like be evaluating yourself of like, okay, am I actually walking in the will of the Lord, or am I just kind of like convincing myself that I am? And then on top of that, I think just remembering that Scripture talks about when we say yes to the Lord, whether it be in obeying and walking with Him or in the calling He has for us, there's going to be like spiritual attack on it. And so just whenever things start to get hard or don't go as perfectly planned, like not giving up on remembering, okay, the Lord has called me to do this. I was made for this. And regardless of what everything is going around, around me or what people are saying to me, like, I know the Lord is faithful and true. And if I do my part, I can trust that He'll do the rest. And so if I'm walking in obedience to Him, and if I am staying in check of like, okay, Lord, is this still what you have for me? Because sometimes things are in seasons. Like sometimes may say yes to this now, and then a few years into it, even sometimes, some months or even like a while later, the Lord's like, okay, I got something else for you. And just having that flexibility of being like, okay, Lord, this is my heart and my desire, but ultimately I want what you have for me. And that doesn't always look like how we expect, and it can get discouraging, but remembering the Lord says, like, you do your part and I'll do the rest. Having that trust in Him is really what has helped me get through it all. Being like, okay, Lord, I'm checking myself, I'm in your word, and I feel like I'm walking with you. Let's just go on your timing and not mine and see what you do.
Yeah, that's really good. Actually, what you're saying I mean, it really resonates with me because even as I'm like working on the app and doing things, like there's so many things I'm running into and I'm like, Lord, this is it. Like you told me this, right? And then going back to prayer and like, okay, yes, I feel like this is the Lord is saying. And then a few days later, I'm like, Lord, this is what you said, right? So, yeah, I love that there is that constant just rechecking with the Lord. Is this still the season? Because I do think we can run, past a season. And we can do it with a lot of things. We can do it with something like this. We can do it with friendships. And that may be past a season. And then you're like, no, I'm going to keep holding on to that. And the Lord's like, no, that season with that friend is done. And so that's just really important. So I love that. Rejection can have an impact on our identity. How do you keep your identity where it's supposed to be?
That is a wonderful thought because I've had to wrestle with that before, especially with the industry that I'm in and putting myself out there. And a lot of it is me. Like, it literally is like my face, the way I act, you know, like it really is like personal in a way. And so, or sometimes you just don't fit the character too, but you know, that is a real thing. And I think it honestly starts with, although your calling is important and good, your identity is not in your calling, it's in the Lord. And so you're ultimately obeying Him and then carrying out whatever He has for you. But if my identity is in the thing that I'm carrying out, that's going to stop, that's going to have hardships, that's going to have rejection, that's going to be confusing. And if I'm based off of that, then I'm going to be confusing and start stopping. Like, there's going to be a lot of gray area in that. But if I have a starting point of saying, okay, Lord, I'm ultimately yours, regardless of what you have me doing, that comes later. It really starts with that personal time with the Lord of saying, okay, Jesus, I give you my everything. Let me be a vessel for you, versus saying, God, like, let me do something big for your kingdom. Like, yes, that's good, but it starts with just that personal relationship with the Lord of saying, I find myself in you, not even in my calling, not with what other people say about me, not with the success that I have, because if it's in that goes like this, and I know I can't afford to have myself be like that 24/7. So it starts with Him. Yeah,
that's good. And so you said your time with the Lord. What are there people in your life that kind of keep you in check when you are maybe feel yourself kind of veering off? Do you have people in your life that do that, and what's that look like?
I do. I have two people. One would definitely be my dad. He's the pastor at People's Church here in Oklahoma, and he does a lot of like leadership chapels and things like that. So our one-on-one time is pretty intense because he's constantly asking hard questions. Like, okay, you know, stuff that sometimes I don't even want to ask myself. Because like I said earlier, sometimes I can trick myself into thinking I'm doing something or that I'm believing something, but ultimately I'm just blinded by my own self. And so having outside voices speaking into me is really important, especially when it's my dad, because he knows me so well. So he has that authority to be like, okay, Bria, let's talk about this. And he can see things in my life and daily also to be like, okay, hey, here's something I'm noticing. Can I speak into this? Or do you have any questions or thoughts on this? I don't know that you're quite understanding. And then aside from my dad, my youth pastor, I have two youth pastors. They're married. It's Pastor Riley and Elijah Rentz. I love them so much, but they both have invested in me like crazy. I know Pastor Riley, she's taken me out for coffee quite a few times, and she'll ask me hard questions. So like, okay, Bria, like I'll share a story with her, and she's like, can I speak into something? And I'm like, yeah, go for it. And she's like, okay, it looks like you're viewing this situation like this, and I don't think that's the case. And I'm like, oh, okay. Gotcha. And then I know Pastor Elijah, he does a lot of like character things of like, we went through a book together on trust, and it's just really good to have outside voices, specifically Christian voices. Not that they have to be pastors, and not that it has to be a parent that knows you so well, but someone that you trust and someone who has a relationship with the Lord speaking into you is exceptionally important, because there's a me you can't see. And if you're not having anybody else outside looking in and inviting them in to say like, hey, you have permission to speak into my life, like if you see something, let me know. It's been a game changer, because I will find out eventually, and I'd rather find out from someone safe than in a situation where I'm like, oh, stink, you know what I mean? Especially in the professional field of acting, I'm like, I'd rather know how to handle myself now, how to be able to hear that, how to be able to, you know, choose not to do that, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love that. And just walking with Jesus is meant to be done in community. And so, and especially having somebody who's mentoring you and discipling you and things like that. And so if you don't have that, I would say, number one, start looking for it, start praying for it, talk to people, and don't wait for people to come to you. You go to them. Right. Say, hey, would you, can I take you to coffee and you tell me stuff that I need to hear, and build that. Yeah. So, I love that. I think that's going to be so helpful, for just so many young people. I think so often it's peers that are our sounding boards, and we need people that are a season, 2 seasons ahead of us to be able to really see what we don't see. How do you navigate the character of God when it comes to this area of your life?
Honestly, I've had to ask a lot of questions. Well, I didn't ask for this. I can't control it. I have no power over this. Like, I just gotta trust God. But it's, we have over like 25 surgeries in just my immediate family. There's no way, if I'm carrying these health issues, that I can do what you're asking me to do, because that doesn't make sense. Join